Hey everybody, Luke McElroy from Men's Performance Consulting here. I'm here today with Nick Jankowskis, who helps me out doing VO2 max testing. He's big on his strength and conditioning, which is why we've got him in here today. So obviously there are limitations to my knowledge, and strength and conditioning, I know the basics, but Nick specialises in strength and conditioning. So I thought I'd get him in here today just to have a bit of a chat about strength and conditioning for endurance athletes, the swimmers, cyclists, runners, ultra runners, rowers, etc., and just see what we can get out of him. So it was a pretty convincing poll that you guys wanted to talk about strength and conditioning. We just had a look before, and there was over 50, which is more than double what the other ones were. So yeah, we got him in, and Nick, just want to tell everyone about sort of your journey, the experience you've had over in the States, and a little bit about that for us.
Yeah, so Bachelor of Excellence in Sports Science, similar to what Luke did. Finishing up this year, doing a strength conditioning internship at Melbourne Vic Centre Swimming Club, so with state and national level swimmers there working in the gym, and then end of last year went over to America at the University of Michigan in their strength conditioning department, working in the Olympic sports, so everything from softball, lacrosse, right through to swimming, track and field as well. So pretty broad experience working in that gym setting, and yeah, definitely do enjoy that strength side of it.
And what would you say is the main difference you found between strength and conditioning in Australia, traditionally, compared to the American sports there? In terms of even just going into like the volume of endurance training that the American guys did, and girls, compared to the traditional mindset of doing lots and lots of volume down here from a strength and conditioning perspective. What do you see?
Yeah, so it's definitely that sort of train smart principle that they take over there. So get their endurance, and in particular, some like the cross country runners, cross country team, they train pretty smart. So they're always on specific times for their runs around the track, and then they're finish their session on time so they can come into the gym and do their strength work afterwards, or if it's the other way around. So it's definitely not about how many Ks you get in the legs all the time. They obviously have to do that at the start of their programs, but coming into sort of when they're starting to compete, they would definitely fine-tune that program to maximise it for the time they had. Taking consideration as well, they're all student athletes over there, so they've got their study, they've got work as well outside of it. So it's more about maximising that training session as opposed to let's just have lots of sessions.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I've noticed with a lot of the endurance athletes that come through here is that obviously volume is important. If you want to complete a distance, you need to be able to do that distance and train for that. But yes, strength and conditioning really comes secondary here, in my opinion anyway. And we get the volume done, we get the fatigue in the legs, but then we sort of maybe don't do the strength and conditioning work because, or if we do it, we do it under fatigue, and maybe don't stimulate the right adaptation that we're trying to get. So in terms of like the proportion of maybe endurance sessions to strength sessions, like how many times a week were you doing strength workouts, and how many would you recommend that we do? Any endurance athlete would do.
Yeah, so a really good starting point is just 2 sessions a week. A lot of the cross country team in particular over in the US, at Michigan, they were doing 2 sessions of strength training a week. Keeping it pretty simple was sort of 45 minutes to an hour session. So nothing crazy. It's more injury prevention for them. If you're looking at more of a power sport, obviously you need to have a bit higher strength capacity. So working those extra sessions a week. But yeah, definitely 2 to 3 sessions a week is more than enough for your endurance athlete. Because again, your focus is that endurance component, and probably aerobic capacity is more important than the strength. We more use it as a supplementary tool to that. So definitely injury prevention, and a bit of what we call prehabilitation. So really bulletproofing yourself against anything that is going to come up later on as a result of that endurance training.
Yeah, definitely. I think prehab's massive. Especially the cyclists, a lot of runners anyway, but that glute inhibition where we're just not firing up the right muscles and we get all sorts of hip drop and a weak core and a lot of overuse injuries because we can't obviously support the body. So in terms of people are watching this we want action steps on how we can go about a strength program. So we're saying 2 times a week is probably a good starting point.
2 times a week is a great starting point.
And obviously a lot of people probably are very new to strength or haven't even done any strength work whatsoever. What would you recommend in terms of progressions? Probably go through the neural stuff first, then build up the weight, sets and reps. Like, what are you sort of thinking? Obviously there's lots of different sports Runners will train different to cyclists, who will train different to swimmers. Just go through some of the progressions that we would maybe look for from a beginner to then build up to a point where we can say that we are strong and we are injury prevention and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So I guess the starting point is keeping it really simple. So essentially, we want to develop that neural pathway first. So how well we can transmit a signal from our brain to our muscle. Obviously, crucial for all our endurance sports. We need that repeated contraction, repeated ability to move. So building that pathway is just really easy. We can do body weight exercises, things like a body weighted squat, even a split squat, which is in like a lunge stance. It just takes you off 2 legs onto 1 leg, which is probably more applicable for our runners and cyclists, even our swimmers as well, depending on what type of stroke you're doing again. But yeah, so really easy body weight sort of things to develop that pattern and high repetition. So looking at endurance sport, we want to build that muscular endurance. So ability to complete repeated contractions. So anything sort of that 15 reps and above per set. So 15 to 20 is a really good starting point, just body weight. So say for example, we're taking a squat, maybe we do 2-3 sets of 15 to 20 reps with about a minute rest in between. Is a really good starting point for anyone who hasn't gone into strength training before, but that'll just give you enough to start developing that pathway between the brain and the muscle.
Yeah, definitely. And so I'm going to put up a graph that's going to come up on the screen hopefully now, if I get the computer to sort that out for me. But as you'll see, in the first sort of 3 to 6 weeks there, we get predominantly we get the improvements from just the neural system. So actually learning how to complete the movement, learning that movement pattern, how to squat, how to fire up the glutes and do the right contraction order. Glutes. I don't know what it is for squat, but when you go glutes first, and then you got quads, and then just the right motor pattern there. And then after that, you can see that after that it comes into hypertrophy. So hypertrophy is obviously building up the muscle and building up muscle strength and the size of the muscle. But that actually comes later on. So a lot of guys are going to benefit just from getting the movement pattern right, firing the right muscles at the right time to then obviously manage that load that's going through the body there. Yeah. Absolutely. So in terms of some exercises that we would do, I personally find the hip complex, the glutes, the quads, the core, probably the key ones. Would you agree with that? Anything you'd supplement? So looking at squats, with the deadlifts, any good core exercises that you can think of that'd be really...
Yeah, so a really good one, particularly for swimmers. It's a hollow body hold. So for all those swimmers out there who know their streamline position, essentially it's your traditional plank position. You flip over onto your back. You're just getting that streamline position, taking your shoulders and head off the ground, your feet off the ground. It's a really good hold. It's a pretty hard exercise as well. You don't have to do much of it to really start feeling it, but that'll just get that deep tissue activated, which is probably the key for endurance sport, is that we want that deep core tissue. We don't necessarily want our abs, so 6-pack's not a necessity. Doing lots of sit-ups isn't necessarily going to help us, but if we can activate that, it's called our transverse abdominis, so that really deep muscle tissue in our core, that's going to help you be more stable on the bike, be more stable in the pool. It's often referred to as a runner's muscle as well, so that's that real positive one for keeping that good running ankle, good running posture. So something like a hollow body hold in the back, front planks, side planks are all really good ones, those sort of holds. Things like dying bugs or dead bugs, they're sometimes referred to. Anything where we're extending outward, so starting in close and moving parts of our body away from the centre, are really positive for developing that deep core strength, as opposed to crunching in, where we say for example our sit up, it tends to promote tight hip flexors, which plenty of endurance athletes are already struggling with at the moment. It's one of probably the biggest causes of tightness, is that hip flexor being really tight, either due to weak glutes or compensating for lack of core strength through that hip flexor to get that flexion of the leg.
Yeah, so to keep it really simple, it sounds like we need to do specific movements. So if you're a swimmer, we're going to want to work the lats. Yeah, for a runner, absolutely. We're going to want to do the glutes and the quads and the core that way. So we do specific movements, but also maybe opposite movements as well. Like in terms of opposite actions is probably a better way. Like if we're in hip flexion because of the bike, we want to get into hip extension and get the glutes going up again and sort of counterbalance that resistance there.
Yeah, the perfect example I've got for that is anyone who's sitting down at a desk all day, generally rounded over in the shoulders. So the easiest fix for that is to do any sort of pulling exercises. So we're working our back, working out, getting that retraction of the shoulder blades back, It'll just pull those shoulders back to just get a better posture to start with, but it'll also just strengthen up that back so you're in a better position when you're performing as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a good start would be to go through the 6 exercises. You've got a horizontal push and pull.
Yep.
So what, you've got a horizontal push, so a push up, and then pull is a row.
Yep.
Vertical's overhead press, and then pull is a lat pull down.
Lat pull down, yep.
Upper body, then you've got lower body push and pull, so squat and deadlift, you know.
Yep.
Squat is the push, so you're going down and pushing up, and deadlift's obviously the pull, doing the exact opposite movement there. So if we get those compound exercises right and get the neuromuscular system firing correctly with those 6 exercises alone, which is pretty much every muscle in the body each time, more or less, then that's going to give us a good platform to then get more specific and do split squats and one-legged stuff, because you know that's what you do when you run and all that sort of thing. So get those compound movements correct first, unweighted, unweighted. So get a yardstick or just body weight,
Yeah, broomstick's a good one just to help you get your bearings.
So just body weight. So just do some body weight exercises, guys. Don't worry about weight yet. I say the first 6 weeks is neural anyway, so you get most of it from the neural system. We can worry about hypertrophy, 6-8 weeks down the track. So just get the movements right: squat, deadlift, lat pull down, overhead press, push up, and a row. Get them right first. Then we'll come back and we'll worry about the actual loading parameters, sets and reps, and after that a bit later on. So we will come back and do a couple of these videos, but as those action steps, get those exercises done. If you go to the gym, just get one of the more knowledgeable PTs to come and have a look at your form. Or even just Google's probably a good one. Google or YouTube, probably. If you go to YouTube squat.
Plenty of YouTube videos on how to squat correctly, how to deadlift correctly. So technique's definitely really important because we want to be using the correct muscles in each movement. We don't want to be compensating. So say in a deadlift, we don't want to be necessarily using too much of our back. We want to be really driving through those glutes.
Yeah.
Because that's the purpose of it.
We'll see if we can find a reputable YouTube channel which show all these exercises and link it in the comments below. But that wraps up the first one, guys. So get through those steps. Post any questions below, and just get out there and just train the system first. Get the movement right first. Then we can worry about overloading it and building up specific strength and muscle after that. Hope you enjoyed it. Comments below. Thanks, Nick, for coming in. I'm sure we'll see him a fair bit more, particularly with his strength and conditioning stuff.